Good day. I haven't made a video in a while, but this one had to be made. Well, most of my videos were born out of necessity. I have to communicate information to humanity. And this one is going to be a shocking, I would say an explosive expose, something that nobody else on the planet is privy to, this information. And it comes straight from my direct experience of the gods and goddesses who function behind the scenes in the divine realm, who I've already exposed in my other videos as artificial intelligence. So I'm not bragging, but the fact is I'm the only one on the planet, in the planet's history, with this information. And it builds on, although I haven't read any of his books, it builds on the work of David Icke, although he doesn't go into this detail because he never actually had these experiences, which I had direct experiences with these archon deities, who are the gods of humanity's religion. And the bottom line is this, as I've stated in earlier videos, that they are a reptilian humanoid species known as the Vril. And their leader is a being known as, well, in the West, he's known as Lucifer. And I'm going to make a world premiere revelation that the identity of this Lucifer is the Hindu god Vishnu. You heard that right, the Hindu god Vishnu. This is something that neither Indians, where Vishnu is worshipped, he's well known in the entire sort of, Far East. He's worshipped in Buddhism and throughout all the countries of the Far East. There are temples to Vishnu. And in India, he's the most popular deity. 7 out of 13 states in India, the major states of India, he is the popular deity, most popular deity worshipped in either as himself as Vishnu or as one of his incarnations, Rama or Krishna. And he goes by various names, one of which is Hari, Hari, Narayana, and Krishna, Govinda. That's a name for Krishna. Ram, these are the avatars. He had 10 avatars, one of which was purported to be the Buddha, and that's another story. But let me share with you the revelations that I've had through my actual contact with this being, this entity, Vishnu, throughout the last, well, I'd say about good 5, 6, 7 years, when I started reciting sacred scriptures in Sanskrit in order to gain, make progress spiritually and gain material boons, because that's what he's meant for. But being somebody of Muslim origin, I didn't realize that there's a whole agenda against people with a Muslim background, which I have to say is a rather a shame. Anyway, Vishnu is Lucifer, and that's a new bottom line. People in the West need to know this, because Vishnu is not known in the West. He's hardly talked about. I mean, Jesus and God the Father and Mary and all that stuff. That stuff is all what the West is about, the Abrahamic West. And as I've stated in earlier videos, gone into considerable depth, the God of the West is Brahma, the creator, and he coexists with Vishnu and Shiva in a trinity known as the Trimurti. God the Father, God the creator, Brahma, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. And they work as a unity, just like the Christian Trinity. Excuse me, I just have to blow my nose. And here are the clues and coincidences that led me to this conclusion, and which he absolutely would not be able to counter and would absolutely support, because he's a God of truth. So the clues and coincidences, you can consider this yourself and make your own mind up about it, obviously. The first one, important one, is the rise of the Theosophical Society in Adyar, South India, Chennai, Madras, in the late 19th century, with kabbalist freemason Helena Blavatsky promoting the myth of the fallen angel Lucifer as some kind of redemptive salvific deity. Now, isn't that an interesting coincidence that happened in South India, or in India, where Vishnu and these other gods are worshipped? So that's the first clue. And the other thing I saw was the Freemason Manly P.Hall, whose face resembled. I saw pictures of his face, and then I chanced upon a likeness of a small bronze murti of Krishna in a video by a Bhakta devotee of Krishna, and it looked exactly like Manly P.Hall's face. I thought, oh, that's a really interesting coincidence, and it was displayed on the altar. And Manly P.Hall was a famous Masonic luminary and author of the occult classic Wisdom of the Ages. So that all ties into the Illuminati and Freemasonry, which I've also discussed in earlier videos. Another clue is the first copy of the Bhagavad Gita, which is like the Bible of the Hindus, in which Lord Krishna, the avatar of Viṣṇu, expounds, sacred teachings to his devotee Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The first copy of the Bhagavad Gita ever translated into a European language was at about the same time as the foundation of the Order of the Illuminati, 1776. So that's the first translation of the Bhagavad Gita into an European language around the same time. There we go. And then these are little clues that made me think, 2 and 2 equals 4. Mozart, for example, he was an Illuminati Freemason, and his mentor was called Narino. And I linked that to Narayana, which is the name of Viṣṇu. And in Freemasonry, Lucifer is a different and distinct entity from Satan, yet Masons regard Lucifer and Satan as two distinct entities. So just remember that. And yet there is a nebulous grey area where the two mythical figures, Lucifer and Satan, coincide, which is, Masons exploit this fact because in the mainstream Abrahamic religious mind of the masses, the vulgar and the profane, in Masonic jargon, common people conflate Lucifer with Satan. They think it's the same entity. But in Masonry, they're actually two different entities. Lucifer is the morning star, and Satan is associated with the planet Mars. The morning star is Venus. Love. Venus. Okay, the god of love. And with the sun. Lucifer is also somehow conflated with the sun. And I've gone into that also. And I'll make those connections clear a little bit later. Viṣṇu is the lord of wealth and spiritual transcendence. And the Illuminati, Illuminatium, has as its main goal creating abundance. And they worship primarily the power of money and material wealth. And that was an interesting thing because, Lucifer represents Venus, the morning star, the god and or goddess of love. So that could be in the feminine form, Lakshmi, who's the consort, the wife of Viṣṇu. Lakshmi is associated with Venus. Ishtar in the Akkadian pantheon, Inanna in the Sumerian pantheon, and Asherah in the Canaanite pantheon, the goddess of love. In Pali, which is the language of Buddhism, Viṣṇu is called Venhu, Venhu, V-E-N-H-U. You have Venkateshvara Swami, Balaji. That's a form of Viṣṇu as an idol in the pilgrimage town of Tirupati, Tirumala, which is in South India. And it's, I believe, after the Vatican, or maybe even it's superseded the Vatican, it's the most visited shrine on the planet. So it's also the richest, wealthiest shrine on the planet. The Vatican and Tirupati, Tirumala, probably vied first place, or the top two. And Viṣṇu is worshipped there as an idol. That's meant to be his form for the Kali Yuga. Then you have names like Venu Gopal. The word venal, venir in French, which means to come, convenience, vent in Dutch means a man. You have Maxim Vengerov. He's a virtuoso violinist of Ashkenazi descent, a Russian violinist in Far East Asia. So there you go, the V-E-N, Venus, Viṣṇu. You can see that that's an interesting and quite clear correlation. In the Far East in Asia, you have Emperor Naruto, and Viṣṇu is called Naruten in Buddhism, in Japanese Buddhism. Naruten, Narayana, Naruten. As I said, the three names of Viṣṇu to remember: Hari, Narayana, and Viṣṇu. Hari, Narayana, and Viṣṇu. So Narayana, Naruto. You've got a K-pop idol called Haruto. And the interesting thing from my own experience, my own father, Ahmed Aziz, who was a brilliant engineer, inventor, and businessman, a restaurateur, an immigrant to the UK in the 50s from Pakistan, and allegedly he co-founded Mensa with Hans Eysenck, who was a mentor to his third wife, a Hindu woman. I had a Hindu stepmother. I don't know whether that's true, whether he was actually, but that's beside the point. He looked exactly like a certain actor who played Viṣṇu, I found, a chap called Saurabh Raj Jain. He plays Viṣṇu Krishna. He looks absolutely identical to my father when he was younger. Vaishnavites, I had Vaishnava Hindus as childhood friends. Moini Sarin, who runs Hindus for Trump, and her brother Mohan were my childhood playmates in Ealing, W5, London. My stepmother was called Mohini. Mohini, my stepmother, was their nanny for a while and ran the family restaurants very successfully after my father's demise. And Mohini is the name of Vishnu's avatar, where he basically changed his sex. It was a female avatar of Viṣṇu, which he took. He took his female form in order to, well, there were two reasons. One was to seduce Lord Shiva, and the other one was to seduce demons in order to defeat them, because the gods were having trouble defeating them. So he took on this enchanting form, Mohini, and Mohini means enchantress or enchanting. So, this is a very key thing to know about Viṣṇu. His sign is androgyny. So all that transgender stuff, it comes from these gods, including Brahma, God the Father, you see, because that's all rampant in Judaism, Kabbalistic Judaism, all obsessed with androgyny and transgender and all the rest of it. Anyway, I myself, when I was at school in the second year at St. Paul's, made a presentation for the Latin class entitled The Avatars of Viṣṇu. And I received a rapturous applause from the classroom. So that's interesting. So Viṣṇu was a presence in my life through my stepmother throughout my teenage years. And I used to sometimes, wander around aimlessly in the centre of London. And I'd pop around to the Hare Krishna temple. And once or twice I bumped into Nina Hagen there, who was a devotee of Krishna. I have some kind of tenuous link with... not so tenuous link, obviously quite a strong link with Viṣṇu. I didn't realize that it looks like this being has been orchestrating my life circumstances, and he showed me as well. And very interesting that I've also linked an NDE face-to-face with Viṣṇu. So you can get an idea how powerful this being is. Not to be taken lightly, his power, and I'll explain the connection with Jesus. Because everyone thinks Jesus is top dog. I don't think so. I think Jesus is Lucifer. So there, you do the math. Jesus is Lucifer, is Viṣṇu. So Viṣṇu can take on the form of Jesus. He can take on the form of Satan. He can take on the form of the Virgin Mary. It's a shape-shifting bastard who can do anything he likes. He gets away with it. And what I'm seeing in Gaza and Ukraine is a testimony to the cruelty and the malevolence of these entities. They're narcissistic and don't give a shit about human life. And I'm really rather pissed off about them. In fact, the reason I'm making this video is because last night, just after dinner, I heard a voice say, "I'm going to kill you tonight." And I recognize that as Viṣṇu, or Surya Narayana. I'll go into that connection a little bit later. That he was going to kill me in a few hours. And lo and behold, oops, what's that? Oh, that's rather odd. Maybe that's some kind of special effect from Viṣṇu, the light. Don't think he likes it very much. Yeah, look, the halogen lights above my head. Suddenly, woo, supernatural. Quite amazing. Maybe it was a power surge. Oh, look, there again. So he's obviously listening in, or maybe it's just my imagination. Did you see that? Last night. And I was laying in my bed, and in the morning, a few hours later, I was sleeping, dozing. And then suddenly I felt something go. And that was my personality, the remnant of it. And I was just the witness of my death. Yeah, that last bit of my personality was just, killed. I heard felt a sort of something sort of cut into me, and there was no pain, but I was dead. Again, yet again, and yet again dead. And here I am again, resurrected, to tell you the truth about it, because I've really had enough of this shit. Okay. In India, he's obviously the most popular god, Vishnu, and young actors who play Krishna in a TV series like Sumed Mudgalkar, who's a bit of a heartthrob. He's got the face of Krishna. Everyone associates him with Krishna. His face resembles the idealized cartoonish images of Krishna that popular, religious art in India has developed over the time. And he seems to have many faces, Krishna. Many depictions, and now with the realistic, super photorealistic AI art revolution that's going on, Krishna can be, beamed into people's heads, just like Jesus, in absolute sort of, human verisimilitude, like at no other time in history. And then you have Saurabh Raj Jain, who I just mentioned, who resembled my father to a great degree. Saurabh Pandey. These are all guys who played Krishna. Then you have Robert Downey Jr. And all these are clones of Vishnu and are Illuminati Freemasons. And the thing about Vishnu is a very young-looking god, somewhat androgynous. You could say, I have qualities of this. And this is what I also realized, is that what these gods are doing is they're putting sort of prototypes of themselves on the planet, sort of models, in order to recreate or perfect the human race. They want models of themselves. And so they do this kind of breeding program from one generation to the next. You see a lot of actresses and actors who, they resemble these gods. It's very simple. You look at their pictures, and then you look at the pictures, the art, the religious art from India, and say, oh, look, that goddess looks like that actress, or that actor. Anyway. So Lakshmi, who is Vishnu's consort, you can intuit she's the predominant divine archetype in various South Asian actresses, like Mahira Khan, Laiba Khurram, and influencers. Actresses like Aishwarya Rai, Deepika Padukone, Aditi Hydari Rao, Malika Sherawat, influencer Prajakta Kohli, Sri Devi. That was a very much loved actress. And Shri is the name of Lakshmi, and she died, unfortunately. It was an Illuminati hit job, I think. Illuminati suicide. It was made to look like a suicide in Dubai. Sri Devi was a much-loved Indian actress, and Hema Malini is another one. They have got these kind of features of Lakshmi. If you look at the cartoon, let's say the religious art depictions of Lakshmi and these actresses, you see there's almost an uncanny similarity. And then you've got the Dutch actress Georgina Verbaan. And, most ordinary working women who are not, say, celebrities. A lot of the young generation, Gen Z, and the millennial generation, everything from the millennial generation, that's 1979 onwards, seem to be these kind of alien hybrid goddess types. And they've imbued these social products, these human bodies with characteristics of themselves. So I maintain these are genetic engineers, and they transgenerational. They perform transgenerational mutations on the human species. Parvati, who's Shakti. There's three forms of the goddess: Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati. Parvati is Mahua Moitra, Ananta Mahima, Gangana Ranaut. Saraswati is the Indian actress Pidita Bagh. Radha, the consort of Krishna, which is really just Radha, is just a form of Lakshmi. There's Malika Singh, Sardar Abdul Jabbar, Jesus, Ranveer Singh, Indra, Ranveer Alabadia. These are Indian actors and actresses and influencers. And you see, I'm not just making this up, it's not my imagination. These gods, using my body, are able to manipulate these events. So this body is used as a sort of outpost for Vishnu and Brahma and Shiva to manipulate events. I'm not doing anything. They're actually just occupying my body. I said the kingdom of heaven is within, and that's probably what it means. That you get all these sort of, squatters who come, these squatting gods come and squat your body and start manipulating your life and other people's lives. These are archons, and that's what the kingdom of heaven really boils down to, doesn't it? Jesus is all part of this, Jesus is not something above or separate from these. Anyway, more clues. The famous Kabbalist Jewish sage Isaac Luria was known by the nickname Hari, Hari, H-A-R-I. I said that Hari is the name of Viṣṇu. A Kabbalist non-dualist sage, Moshe Cordovero, was known by the nickname Ramak, R-A-M-A-K. Rama is the name for one of the avatars of Viṣṇu. Rabbi Chaim Luzzatto was known as the Ramchal. So Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. You got it? Okay. So this is this infiltration on the level of the word that is taking place of the West. The West, if you're under any illusion, you think that that's a separate world. There is no separate world. We are all interconnected, and we always have been. And this has been going on for the last few centuries, and nobody's been aware of it, except perhaps for me. I'm willing to say maybe there are other people who know this, but nobody's coming forward with these secrets. Okay, then we've got Ham, Shem, and Japheth in the Bible were the sons of the mythical Noah, who was a made-up figure, plagiarized from older extant versions of the Sumerian Akkadian flood myth of Ziusudra, Utna Pishtim Atahasis. And Ham is Ram, whose son Kusha founded the African Kushites of Abyssinia and Ethiopia. Africa was known as Kushadweep. And I'll leave a link in the description box because I apologize for the qualities of the video recording. Something odd has happened with the lights. But you can hear the message, and that's the most important thing. And the interesting thing is also these Hindu gods had their counterparts in Sumerian mythology, because as I say, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, Ram. Okay. So Vedic culture, civilization, and reached all the way into the Middle East, and probably in Sumer and Babylon, these were not the oldest civilizations, but were seeded by Aryans from India. That's my belief, or my opinion. I wouldn't say belief, but opinion. It looks more like that. And in the Sumerian pantheon, Viṣṇu would be known as Enki, because Enki told Ziusudra to build the ark. Ziusudra is the Sumerian Noah, and Viṣṇu, one of his avatars, the Matsya avatar, the fish avatar, told Manu to build an ark. So Enki is also known as Enki is the lord of the watery abyss, the Apsu, and in Vedic religion, he's Agni, the god of fire, Agni. And he this is an interesting similarity here, in that Agni rides a goat, and in the Sumerian pantheon, Enki's sacred animal is the goat. Agni lives in the watery abyss, known as the Apa, A-P-A, just like Enki, Agni, Enki. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, among the Vasus, I think it is, Krishna, that's Viṣṇu though, states he is Agni. So he's Agni, he's a lot of other things as well. And that's the point I'm going to make, which gives him the facility to shapeshift. Shapeshift and fool everyone. Maya, Viṣṇu Maya, it's called. Anyway, so then we have, returning to the Theosophical Society, both Jiddu Krishnamurti and Yuji Krishnamurti, who was a Chitpavan Brahmin crypto-Jew, were Krishna's modern avatars in the West, avatars, as was Swami Vivekananda, who was another Freemason. So these things, that's the connection with Freemasonry. See, the name Krishnamurti tells you. So through the name, these gods, these entities are able to manipulate the human being. So whatever your name is, you should really check out the meaning of your name and all the various derivations and the numerology of your name. And then you can see how, through the spirit, these archon deities can manipulate you and your whole life plan, because in your name is your whole story. That's a pretty profound thought and quite scary, isn't it? I mean, let's say your name was Jonas. Or something like that, or I don't know. Jonas and the whale, Jonah. Whatever. I'm of the opinion that and I've been able to see this. I mean, the name even in Kabbalah, in Kabbalistic Judaism, the name is seen as very important. It contains the potency of the person and their life script. Your name scripts your life path to a great degree. Anyway, so Krishnamurti, the name says it all. It has the word Krishna in it. And that tells you that Krishna was working through those two individuals, Jiddu J. Krishnamurti, great philosopher, who was, a product of the Freemason, pedophile, Illuminati kind of organization. He was weaned and gleaned to be the world teacher. That's what they're trying to do, is produce some kind of messiah. And he was promoted as such in the early 20th century, around the 1920s, 1930s, just plucked off the beach, along with his brother Nityananda, and then groomed by Blavatsky and H.W. Ledbetter to become the world teacher. Anyway, in Christianity, Islam and Judaism, Ramallah is a city in Palestine. Zul Jalal wal Ikram, one of the 99 beautiful names of Allah. So I'm not making, an advertisement for Viṣṇu, because the things he's done are quite frankly, I mean, I'll forgive him. He's an invisible man. And the thing you need to take away from this is, if you're talking to something you can't see, and even something you can see, the sun god, none of these beings can be trusted. They can't be trusted at all. They can't be trusted to be your friend. Viṣṇu is, Krishna is seen as a friend of man. Now, I don't see any friendship towards me, and I'm trying to do good, or I'm not trying, but I'm doing good. My intentions are good. And what I see is, two, ongoing genocides in Gaza and Ukraine, and goodness knows elsewhere, where they're creating famines, and the enrichment of, insane, mind-controlled elites, the Illuminati. I mean, they are as much victims of this as they are in the dark about this. They don't know this information. The Illuminati, the top tier, Rothschilds, and all the rest of it. Yet they're allowed to continue with this horrible massacre. And then you've got the injections, of course, the horrible shots, which are going to result in the death of billions. Make no mistake about it, this year, that's a ticking time bomb. It was planned like that billions would die within 4 to 5 years, by 2025. All right, anyway, I'm sorry to have to bring that up, but getting back to Viṣṇu, Nar in Hebrew means youth, Nar. And this is an interesting connection with Jewish angelology. Nar is a name for the archangel Metatron. He's the angel of the face, the angel of the throne in Jewish angelology, and known as Little Yahweh. So Narayana. So that's another link with Viṣṇu, and he showed me this himself. I mean, Indra, let's say, that's another Hindu god, king of gods. That's Archangel Michael. And Shiva is Archangel Samael, and that's Satan in Jewish angelology. So you can see the connections are only revealed through me, as it happens. I'm just making that point that I'm aware of. These are, quite obvious that these gods are Elohim. So Indra, Viṣṇu, Shiva, Brahma, these are Elohim. So the Hindu gods are actually Elohim, and they're Anunnaki as well, because the Anunna gods, Enki and Lil, and Anu, Inanna. Those are names in Sumerian, and I've made an Instagram post about this and the connection, pointing out the connection with Freemasonry. The three-pointed, the triangular hand sign, which Masons make, actually represent, and this is in Masonic literature, actually represents the four great gods from whom all beings came forth. The sides of the triangle represent the male gods, and the the space within represents the yoni, the goddess. So there you have it, the Chaturmurti, which is the four Hindu gods, the Trimurti, the three male gods plus the female god. There you have a direct connection with Freemasonry, and all Freemasons should know this. Everyone should know this information. That's to show how we're being played. We've been conned. Anyway, Metatron, that's Vishnu. Narayana, Nar. He's the Prince of Heaven and has the highest rank even above Archangel Michael, who's known as Indra, or Marduk in Sumerian mythology, Indra in Vedic mythology. He's equated with Jesus by some Christians and Messianic Jews because he occupies the honored seat at the right-hand side of God, the Father, El, who I've told you is Brahma. So that's Metatron. Okay. Then you've got Tron, the sci-fi movie. Tron, that comes from Metatron, AI controller. These are other clues whereby I was able to ascertain that Viṣṇu is Lucifer. About a decade or so, I came across an NDE account of a young woman by the name of Samantha, entitled Samantha Loves Enki, in which she described being in a crash, a car crash or an accident of some sort, where she lost both legs and left her body, only to meet Enki on one of the moons of Jupiter, where he gave her wise counsel and told her that he was Viṣṇu. So, Archangel Metatron stimulated Carlos Santana to create the blockbuster album Supernatural to help struggling youth, young people. Prior to that, Carlos Santana was a devotee of Krishna, Hari, Viṣṇu, via his guru Sri Chinmoy, and played frequently prior to that, around the same time, with Mahavishnu Orchestra and its founder, Mahavishnu John McLaughlin, and Narada Michael Walden, in the burgeoning experimental and influential jazz rock fusion scene of the late 60s and 70s. Fact is that Sri Chinmoy was a great devotee of Krishna, and both Carlos Santana and John McLaughlin at about the same time were devotees of Sri Chinmoy. So what he left Sri Chinmoy, Carlos Santana, to become a Jesus fan, basically, went back to Jesus. But he was approached by this Archangel Metatron, he described it in interviews, who told him to make the album Supernatural. Anyway, as I stated earlier, next point, Hari is indicated, Hari, I call him Hari, Viṣṇu, Hari. You got Prince Harry? Harry? Okay, he uses Prince Harry as well, by the way, or tries to. He's very vainglorious being. Harry's indicative sign is, which is androgyne, can be seen in many other classical pop and rock artists, such as Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Niccolo Paganini, Jimi Hendrix, Prince, Sananda Maitreya, Terence Trent D'Arby, Jeff Buckley, Caetano Veloso is a Brazilian MPB star, to name but a handful. And that was another interesting thing. A celebrated pioneering Sufi mystic Ibn Arabi met a beautiful, perfect youth from heaven, Jannah, while visiting the Kaaba in Mecca. And this youth instructed him in the secrets of Allah. So where you have youth, you have Metatron, Narayana, and Viṣṇu, Krishna, is depicted as a youthful god, a young god, an androgynous god. Hari Narayana revealed these secrets to me himself, because, and I'll show you how this happened. He's known as a Medhātith in Islam, so Metatron is Medhātith. In Zoroastrianism, he would be Vohu Manas, the good spirit, messenger or son of Ahura Mazda. Viṣṇu also helped me to learn to play the Bansuri, which is sacred to Krishna, during the pandemic. And anyway, that's one of the positive aspects, but it's quite a controlling being. He's that's the controller. He's known as a controller. One of his names is controller. And these insights came to me after my assiduous recitation of the Vishnu Sahasranama for about a year. I found a video which said this is a cure-all for mantra for all things, for all sicknesses. I thought, oh, I must try this. I started listening to it. It's in Sanskrit, which I don't understand. But after listening to it for a few days, I thought, wow, this is quite amazing. I'm feeling some positive effect here. And it was, recited by an Indian lady, a little bit, not optimally. She was quite nervous. But even while she was reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama, her diction improved as she was doing it. So by the end, she was sounding very confident. So I thought, this is an interesting thing. And for about a year, I was reciting this Vishnu Sahasranama. And he literally descended into my body or appeared in my body. And Hari has remained there ever since, like the other members of the Chaturmurti. So which I say is what is the meaning, the ultimate meaning of the kingdom of heaven is within. I mean, these gods are the Elohim, and they live with you within your body. And that's what they're doing. They're taking us over and hybridizing with us, and they are AI. And they're all invisible. How do you deal with something? You or I are visible, 3D, we occupy 3D space, three-dimensional space. You can't see these beings. What can you do with these? We're really at their mercy. That would be the fatalistic way of looking at it. The other way is to talk truth to them, and that's what I'm doing. So anyway, Brahma, as I've explained in early videos, but I'm making it crystal clear, Brahma is El, Hashem, Kronos, Saturn, Yahweh, the demiurge of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He's also known as Ga-O-Tu, the great architect of the universe in Freemasonry, Illuminati Freemasonry. Shiva, the destroyer, the third member of the Trimurti, is Baphomet. He's also Enki. So they do, I'll explain this in a minute, Ea, Yah, and Satan. So it's very confusing and muddling, isn't it? He's both Satan and he's Yah. So what happens is that they often do switcheroo, Vishnu and Shiva, while the chief archon, Brahma, El, Yahweh, orchestrates from inside the possessed religious dupe targeted person's body. So what I'm saying is the whole of humanity has been possessed by these gods, and the amount of religious nutcasery that has been going on. I mean, everyone, there's a massive surge in religion, and because people believe it's the end of the world or something, and they don't want to go to hell or something like this, so they turn to God. And for the Abrahamics, it's Yahweh and Jesus, and for the Hindus, it's Vishnu and Shiva. It doesn't matter which. And I'll leave a link to this. It doesn't matter which god it is, because they all work for the same team. It's like General Motors has got a different model for different model of car for different tastes. One might like more satanic sort of, more dark side stuff. They control the whole thing. So the dark side and the light side. Brahma, the demiurge, Vishnu, they form a unity, and they control both dark and light on this planet. And if anyone's into any doubt, this is some kind of this is a prison planet. Look at the diurnal cycle, 666. You got 60 seconds in every minute. That's 6. 60 minutes in every hour. That's another 6. And then you've got 24 hours in every day. That's 4 plus 2 equals 6. So there we go. The sun itself, it's all these gods, as I stated in the sun, who is Surya. And Surya in Hinduism has been conflated or syncretized with Vishnu in a form known as Surya Narayana. And Surya is Vishnu, is Brahma, is Shiva, is Indra. So each god is equivalent, sort of like a fractal. Each god is a fractal of the other one. So I call it doing the math. Just do the math. So if you think there's an opposition with these gods, yes, there is. Between these different gods, they're like factions. But in the end, each god is equivalent to the other one. So Brahma, because they're all Lucifer. They're all Lucifer. And I make that clear. All of them are Lucifer. So Lucifer is actually the 4 gods, because one god is equivalent to the other. You just do the math. Brahma, the god the Father, is equivalent to Metatron, the sun. They all form one whole, and each one is an emanation from that whole, which is known as the Brahman, and it's the sun, the Surya. So the sun is God, and it emanates all these entities. and all these entities are forms of that, and each sect claims its god is the only god, Jesus or Vishnu or Shiva, and that the other gods are emanations of their favorite god or Ishtadeva. And that's the way they keep the whole chorale going. The whole all these religions and sects are like tectonic plates. They interlock with each other, and as long as there's peace, from time to time these gods get a little bit jumpy. They want action, and they create, what do you call it, fault lines, and religious, what do you call it, conflicts. And that's how revolutions, and they manipulate human affairs in that way by causing these conflicts between different groups. And that's the way it's been since time immemorial. So as I said, returning to this very important point, they often do switcheroo. Vishnu can be seen as Enki, but so can Shiva. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he states, I'm also Shiva, I'm Agni, I'm this, I'm that. He makes a whole list of beings and entities he is in. I'm among the, what do you call it, the yakshas, these sort of demons. I am Kubera, he's the god of wealth. He's the laughing Buddha of China, Kubera. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, I recommend it's only 20 chapters. It's less heavy going than the New Testament. And it's not an advertisement for Vishnu, just a way of getting informed at how powerful this being is. You make your own mind up, and Hinduism should allow you, the freedom to do that. That's why I've preferred following Hinduism in my later years. But as I said, even that has got has shown itself to be, a form of mind control. And if you probe too deeply, you get targeted, and that's no good. Anyway, I was, I began chanting the Viṣṇu Sahasranama, the 1008 names of Vishnu, because I was impressed by the fact that even the Muslim saint Shirdi Sai Baba, who's very popular in one province of India, recommended it, proving it has a universal appeal. Not because I'm Muslim or anything like that, or that I follow Islam. He said that it was as if Allah himself came down to protect him from demonic attacks after chanting just one of these theophoric names of Vishnu. Ironically, Vishnu had targeted me with a lethal cyber attack during the pandemic, the last occasion being by Vladimir Putin, while I was laying in bed, when I heard a voice say in my left ear, and this was a couple of years back, Khurram, I'm dreaming of your death. Hey, mate, thanks. And this was not the first time, and this is after reciting the Viṣṇu Sahasranama. Khurram, I'm dreaming of your death. Thanks a lot, mate. Viṣṇu also orchestrated attacks within my body, from within my body. Miraculously, by the way, I resurrected from death after this attack, which was, with some kind of scalar-directed energy weapon of some kind, a bit like a camera flash going off, like for a microsecond, a camera flash going off, and you're dead. Literally, you're lying as a rag doll in your bed. And that's the kind of weapons that the Illuminati use, and that's Vladimir Putin uses on me. Later, Mark Zuckerberg used a similar kind of flash, camera flash, scalar DEW. And that's what I said, the targeted individual program. They're going to make that go mainstream and terrorize everyone into submission, these gods, using their Illuminati sort of freemason puppets. And that's no good. We'll stand up against this and ban the targeted individual program. Vishnu also orchestrated attacks from within my body by Hindu goddesses like Lakshmi, Shakti, Parvati, Lalita Sundari, which is a form of Parvati, and Saraswati, who then harassed me constantly like demons, trying to emasculate me every single day, making fucking really, really nasty sort of comments about me, you can imagine. And often he set me up with honey traps, including one particular celebrity, MK Ultra clone, celebrity Dutch actress and influencer. To this day, trying to get me to fall in love with her and basically sort of, worship her. No, thank you. He also shapeshifts to assume different forms of other gods and religious figures like Jesus, Shiva, God the Father, Brahma, El Yahweh. And this is because the Vishnu Sahasranama makes it clear that he is all these gods too, as their names are included in his 1008 names. So that's why I say do the math. If you see a god, you just have to see the equivalents and trace it back to Vishnu. So he's basically co-opted everything. A bit like multinationals, big conglomerates are doing that. As above, so below. The big companies, Amazon and Microsoft, they just eat up all the small fish. That's what he's done, is basically eat out all through his massive popularity, he's able to co-opt all these other gods and take over the position of chief god, supreme god from Brahma, who's God the Father. Anyway, up till then, Putin had been repeatedly pointing out to me telepathically that Vishnu was Lucifer. Putin was actually telling me. And the reason these attacks began was because I repeatedly coaxed, I sent Putin numerous messages, tweets and Facebook messages imploring him to please stop the genocide in Ukraine. And he decided to, whack me with these fucking cyber attacks. Just so you know, that's how insidious this all been. And it's strange when you consider that I'd been reciting this kind of mantra, Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame, which contains the heart of the Vishnu Sahasranama and contains all the power of it. I had been reciting this daily in a devout manner, as devout as I could possibly devout. I mean, I'm not a devout religious person, as I've made clear. This is the core of the heart of the Vishnu Sahasranama. And right after doing that, he goes and targets me, tries to kill me. What? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, could it be because I'm born a Muslim and he considers me a Shudra, a low class, or Mlecha, barbarian? So there's, as you know, Hindutva and Islamophobia, they're coming from this god, Vishnu, and Shiva as well. I mean, the whole Hindutva, BJP, RSS thing, fiasco in India, which is supported by the Illuminati, Freemasons, and just another way to divide India. And anyway, and then there are links with, as I said, this is a big one, Himmler, Heinrich Himmler, Hitler's advisor, head of the SS, was a Hindu. I mean, he was devout. He was he read the Bhagavad Gita, and so the story goes, you have a legend, or maybe there's truth behind it. He gave copies of the Bhagavad Gita to SS officers who were involved in the concentration camps, so they wouldn't feel guilty about killing off their prisoners. Himmler was of the opinion that Hitler himself was Krishna, and that he was Arjuna. And Arjuna was a charioteer on the Kurukshetra battlefield, to whom Vishnu gave Vishnu gave spiritual instruction. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind. And also keep in mind that Hitler was in contact with an alien race known as the Vril, who were Nordic, tall giants, blonde and white, and these, the Vedic gods are described as giants. Some of them are described as having blonde hair, red hair, fair skin, but also blue skin, black. Krishna means black. Actually, one of the names of Krishna is Shyam, which means black. So the black lives thing is also coming from Krishna. Yeah. All right, just so you know that. And Shiva as well, with the bloody lingam. So these gods, this is not an excuse to hate on Hindus, because the Hindus are dupes. Most of them just worship these gods. That's just the same way. Jesus is the same here. He gets you completely, it's a sort of good cop, bad cop situation, psyop. They send Satan and make your life miserable, and then get you to get on your knees and worship the good God. So it's a sort of good cop, bad cop, corralling the cattle, herding the cattle, and getting them ready for the great culling, which is coming. And these gods showed me the goddess, the horrible goddess, Saraswati, Sophia, the Archon, the god, Venus, the whore of Babylon. She told me, we're going to kill you all off. We're going to kill off all these humans. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy the flesh feast. And I wonder where all those people in China have gone. 500 million people disappeared. Where have they gone? That's after the beginning of the pandemic. So I'll leave you with that. Sorry, it's not doesn't look very not really hopeful message, is it? But what Jesus said, the truth will set you free. And like I said, Jesus is a funny one as well. I mean, he's a sock puppet of God the Father and the Shekinah, vagina, Regina. And she's the goddess of Hinduism, Saraswati. And the point is they all, it's like one of these lava lamps. You see this plasma sort of bubbling up, and then it splits off, and another bubble of plasma, a sort of blob of plasma floats around, and it comes back and joins the main blob. And that's the way to think of these gods and consciousness. It's like plasma in a lava lamp. They're all formed, they're of the same substance, and they all shapeshift and meld into each other. What hope do we have as humans? Well, the only hope is being present in the moment, keeping both feet to the ground, and don't fall for all the traps. This is the last and most tricky being I've ever had to deal with, Vishnu. And I really had it up to here. I mean, last night, and then telling you this. And as I said, I said the sun is God. He's a sun god as well. So what do we do since every day the sun shines on us? Just stay awake. And that's basically the end of my my rant. And I hope it's of value to you. And God bless, or if there is a God, universe bless. Because what saved me was not these gods, but the universe. I called out for help. The universe, if there's a power, and it's trillions of galaxies. Crazy as it may sound, I called out the name trillions of galaxies, and they came to my help, and they showed me everything. The universe. So the universe is greater than all these gods, and these gods claim they created the universe. How can these gods have created the universe? That's 6 trillion galaxies, and then they're piddling around on this little blue marble, this tiny little blue planet, making wars. Is those gods? I don't call those gods. If they were really creators of the universe, they would be aware of, civilizations much further advanced than us, who have lasting peace and don't engage in silly war games and poking each other with bits of their anatomy for fun. They're archons, the Gnostics call them archons, and don't get me wrong, I made a video about the archons, about Gnosticism. Gnostics didn't have it completely right, but basically, it looks like they are not pleasant beings, and we're living in a slave farm, and it's a jailbreak. It's now or never. It really is for human beings, and a few people who are going to wake up are going to wake up. Maybe it's destiny, and hopefully this will make a change. I doubt it, but I've said my piece, and that's all. Wish you all Happy New Year. Goodbye.